Welcome back to Shum's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over how to utilize your personal month and year to your advantage. This is like a secret numerology glitch that I notice isn't that publicly talked about. Like when I look for other numerologists talking about it on YouTube or online, it's not really brought up too much, but you guys should definitely know about this because it contradicts a lot of the things that you think you know about numerology right now. So let's begin. So the first off is your personal year begins on your birthday. Like a lot of people think, oh, my personal year is going to be New Year's, all this stuff. It's definitely not. It's your personal year is when you were here. That's what your birthday actually like literally stands for, is your own personal New Year's, if you think about it. So the key behind this is in the fact that you can utilize your personal year to your advantage. If you know the topic of your personal year, you then can use your personal month as a subtopic. So what that means is this. If you're in a one personal year, for instance, how are you going to do that? You got to start taking more risks in a personal year one. You're going to have to go out and set out to do new things. You have to take leadership. You got to make sure your boundaries are on point. You got to be that strong, not the strongest version of yourself, but the most authoritative version of yourself to make sure you don't get trampled over, right? When you have a 2 or an 11 for your personal year, same sort of thing goes. It's really a year where a lot of people around you are going to be very emotional, a lot of emotional volatility. You're going to have a situation where you're having to work with partners. They might not be pulling their weight, but you got to figure out a way to diplomatically get through that. So that could be in a business partnership or relationship or simply just a friendship. You just got to make sure that the people that you're working amongst, you guys have harmonization. And that's not always easy to do in partnership situations, especially if one person's pulling more weight than the next. Just make sure you're the person that's at least pulling more weight and not pulling less, as that will cause you a lot of problems in a personal 2 or 11 year. Overall, it's also a year to be very, very creative as well, and a year that you can really manifest a lot if you put emotional energy or passion into something. For a personal year 3, one of your luckiest years by far, no matter who you are. I'd say only time it's not a lucky year for you is if you're a life path 6. If you want to know more about that, just DM me. But as a personal year 3, what you're having is a time for creativity, social status, really just a time for networking, getting to know people. But it's the whole idea of like third time's a charm. So like it's always like a very fun time in a personal 3 year, and that's the time I'd say to play the lottery, take the most risks. You can get lucky. So you can get lucky money, you can find your soulmate, you can meet new friends, you can travel. Like all these things apply to the 3 years. So it's really a year of like celebration. So have fun with it. Personal 4 years is one of the hardest, I'd say. 4 and 22 is really the year where you want to like really start digging in the ground and get that hard work done. The way you can make your personal 4 year easy, a next secret glitch, is by actually working hard in your 3 year so that your 4 years just easy. If you have a lucky year, you might as well use that lucky year to actually build your foundation and treat yourself like shit and sacrifice, and then completely just annihilate your 4 year. It's really as simple as that. If you can annihilate your 4 year by actually predetermining it and getting ready from it in your 3 year, you're going to have a very easy time, because in the 3 year you had a lucky opportunity to make money, lucky opportunity for networking, all these things. So in the 4 year, when law and order's on you, when you have to work extra hard just to manifest, you have to put in more work, it might be less hard because there's such a great foundation built from your 3 year. That's how you sort of solve that. Your personal 5 year is very similar to the 3, very, very lucky again. You're running into a situation where you can, it's really good for extracurriculars, put it long story short, adult entertainment type of things. It's good for traveling. It's good for finding new work. It's good for a transitionary period if you want to move homes, switch vehicles, things like that. I'd use the 5 year to like make fast changes, and then also to make fast money if you can as well. So like sport betting, gambling, even just investing in some risky stocks, penny stocks, like new startup companies, things like that. I would personally do in a 5 year. You have to know like what topics revolve around you specifically that you'd consider high risk, and then do those things in a 5 years. The 5 is all about being a daredevil. So in that year, it wants you to sort of like go outside of your comfort zone and try new things. You'd be very surprised at what you can get from that. In the 4 year, just to recap a bit, don't do any of that at all, because you'll actually just lose and get destroyed. Simple as that. The 6 year is another interesting one. 6 is all about family, creativity, harmonization. It's a year where you want to really improve things like your home, your fashion sense in a 6 year, even your status at work. If you want to like go for a promotion, things like that, I'd say that's very competent to do in a 6 year. And you also want to pay special attention to family, making sure your family members are okay, you're okay. And just really, it's really like, I'd say a 6 year is a year of maintenance, unless it's a 33. If you have a 33 here, you have one of the best chances to influence your life in a very pivotal way. So it's like sort of like having like a genie there saying, what do you wish for? You have to like literally say at the start of a personal 33 year, here's what I wish for, and then here's how I'm going to manifest it and done, right? Because like you have that opportunity to really make things happen in such a peculiar way that you couldn't even imagine. So that year is a year where you really want to take advantage of like actually setting out what you emotionally want and then going after it in a logical sense. The 7 year is another very difficult year. It's a year of like, I guess you could say loneliness, isolation, introspection, spirituality, occultism, and really just getting in touch with oneself. If you take it as a year of self-actualization, meaning a year where you just want to be on self-improvement books, you want to be spending most of your time in solitude, like in like greenery, water, things like that, even taking a couple trips by yourself, visiting certain temples if you're religious, what have you, it'll be very fruitful for you, especially if you have something to master. Like in my 7 year, I chose to master things regarding like stock trading and so forth. So if you actually figure out, hey, what do I need to work on this year? You should focus less on making money, but actually mastering a skill that can make you money in a 7 year. And once you do that, you fully maxed it out and you're going to have a great year. The only time you don't have a good 7 year is if you actually seek out to like, oh, let me go socialize. Let me go try to make a bunch of money. You can accidentally make a bunch of money just because you're mastering a skill that actually just independently makes money anyways. But if you make that your primary goal or making socialization your primary goal, you're going to get crushed. Personal 8 year, sort of like a polar opposite. It's a year of like networking again, a year of money, a year of karma. So a personal 8 year is a year where a couple of things can happen. Either you could have a personal 8 year where you're going to manifest in a way that's very peculiar because you've been putting in work for the last couple of years and you've put in honest work, had a lot of integrity. So there's no karma to actually catch up with you in a bad way, but only in a good way where it's going to lift you up and put you to where you actually deserve to be. But if you're being an immoral person, bad, not honest, not having any sort of moral code whatsoever, the 8 might simply just bring you down and crush you. So you just want to make sure that your karma's in the right place before getting into a personal 8 year. And you also want to make sure you're on your business in an 8 year. So like that should be a year where you're actually focused on the money, focused on your status in life, and really being as militant as possible. Like if you're not in a financially good position, you should be using the 8 year to completely sacrifice your social life and locking into just making money and just being militant in and out your house type of thing. So it's all your choice what you want to do, but this is how you maximize these energies. The personal 9 year, very, very similar in a sense to, I would say like the 4 and the 7. It's difficult because a 9 year is all about like ending things. So if you were to get like a divorce, I'd say do it in a 9 year. I'm not saying you'd plan a divorce ever, like let's get real. But if you sort of feel like things are ending with people in a 9 year, like that's the year where you could say like, yeah, like, okay, this is done, this is done, this is done, this is done. And you actually could take that seriously and start cutting things off. You also can get better in touch with like your knowledge, your data sets, and your sort of ideologies in a personal 9 year. And it'll work to your advantage in a lot of different ways. Just because if you really create like an iron mind and get a firm sense of like what you believe in a 9 year, that's going to be a very resolute mindset that's going to last you for the rest of your lifetime. And 9 years is a year where things like sort of tie up and become completion. So if you're able to utilize that in the right way, you can actually bring a conclusion to a lot of things that'll be very advantageous to you. So the same thing goes now for personal months. Your personal month begins from, okay, I'm May 25th, 1994, right? So my first personal month would be from May 25th to June 25th. Second personal month, June 25th to July 25th. Third personal, you guys get it, right? So whatever date you're born, if you're born August 1st, then your first personal month is going to be August 1st to September 1st, then blah, 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 blah. So you have to just know how to calculate that in a very basic way. Like 30 days after your birthday is your first personal month, then second, then third, then fourth, and keeps going until you get back to your birthday, and then you restart. So you can use your personal months in a very, very dangerous way that people won't understand how you're moving. So let's say somebody knows numerology, but they're thinking like, okay, it's March, and this person's like never seen anywhere he's inside, but he knows numerology. What an idiot. It's a 3 month. It's a 3 universal month, but maybe for that person, it's a 7 personal month. Your personal energy has more influence over you than the universal energy. The universal energy is just how you adapt to things and know why certain things are happening. But in your own personal life, your personal months, your personal days, which I'm going to get to in another video, and your personal year is going to have a lot more of an effect on you than what the universal settings of any year are or any month is. So you'll notice that you'll make more money in like a personal 8 month or a personal 3 month You'll notice that you maybe run to the law and personal 4 months a lot. You'll notice that you have a lot of a harder time in life when it comes to a personal 7 month if you're trying to be social. So you got to use these months to your advantage. The same way I just described using the years, you got to use the months in the same exact way. So the exact, I'd say, paradigm I applied to the years, you want to apply to the months. In a personal 1 month, start up new things, be innovative, be authoritative. In a 2 month, be very careful people being overly emotionally volatile around you. Try to stay very stoic at that time and just balance yourself out. 3 month, take more risks, be socialize. It's probably a lucky time for you. In a 4 month, obviously, watch out for law and order. Keep a stable mindset, work very, very hard. That's the time to really do overtime if you have a job. If you have a company, that's the time to really just lock into your company completely and not bother with anything else regarding socialization. 5 month, maybe take a vacation, spend more time with the kids, spend more time with your family. 6 months, same sort of deal. Really bring your family together, do different designs for your home. If you want to plan a wedding, you want to get engaged, do it in a 6 month. 7 months, solitude completely. Don't really aim for material assets, more so evade that and just go back to mastering your sort of mindset. Just download more data sets. 8 month, make as much money as possible, be as abundant. And then a 9 month, bring things to completion, then restart. This is how you weaponize your life, guys. Is like you have to actually be mapping out what are each of my personal months. If you're actually doing this stuff and bring it in tandem with your astrology chart and your numerology chart, you should be a completely weaponized person. Nobody should understand how you're moving. Because the thing is this, if you know numerology and astrology in a very good way, you should have a new car the way I do. You should have a good home. You should be able to have a lot of different clothes. You should be able to get whatever you want out of life. You should be traveling. You should be doing things that you want to do because you know how to manifest it whenever you want. You should just be able to snap your fingers and say, I'll map this out based off of, I know my own personal settings. But if you don't know yourself, then how are you going to have a definite purpose that's going to be realized? You first have to master yourself and what your own initial settings are. And then you can then put that out and then put out a purpose. And you can manifest that purpose in this universal setting that we call the matrix or the third dimension. It's really as simple as that. So guys, if you have any questions regarding anything I went over this time, just please leave in the comment section for me. Aside from that, like, subscribe, holla at me. It's for today, guys. Peace.